Hello there, everybody. Welcome to the Harley Carnes podcast. We call this Harley on the Headlines, but I have a feeling it's going to feel like a little longer than that. It's the end of the year, you know. Glad you're there. Just a quick reminder as we get started to please help spread the word. Send an email to a friend. Share the link. Like, follow, subscribe. And thanks again. It is usual to get to the end of a year and look back to make a comparison, to take stock, so to speak, of our lives. And then we look forward with anticipation, planning for a better year to come. It is the great attraction of New Year's celebrations. Otherwise, it'd be just another midnight, and most of us would be sleepy, if not asleep. You know, this is the last one of 2025. So let's take a look back a little bit, you know. No doubt things are in better shape in America overall. Inflation had been punitive. I mean, really. Now it's just still a problem, but less so. We are paying considerably less for gasoline at the pump, less for energy overall, and that'll be good for the economy, our personal economies most importantly. Our country is not involved in any major war, and that's a good thing. We're also not walking around with our tail between our legs. The U.S. military has made some surgical strikes, like stepping in with a broom and a dustpan to sweep up a terrorist cell here, another there, a drug cartel smuggling boat or boats. Stopping the flow of illegal drugs into America is not possible, but reducing it substantially is, and that's happening. Meanwhile, as a nation, we need a resolution for the coming year to break our drug habit. We know it's not good for us. Come on. It saps our resources and our daily resolve. It feeds the criminal element and crime. We arm ourselves because we live with fears. I didn't say we live in fear. That is not America, but we live with fears for our children's safety, for our own, and we have armed up to historic levels as a population. Bad people still do bad things and always will. But overall, in the last year, the downward slope of street crime has continued in most places. There is one malady that has infected far too many people, and it's been going on for several years. I want to talk about it a little bit. TDS, Trump Derangement Syndrome. Now, at first, it was just something Trump supporters said to denigrate the mindlessness of so many who say they hate Trump. Hate is a powerful, powerful thing. It does harm. We all know that we should not feel hate because it affects us. It affects us inside. If you feel hate for anything long enough, it affects your life. It affects your psyche. It can become an actual mental issue, and so it is with TDS, according to some psychiatrists. For some Democrats, typically those who live and writhe in the miasma of the far-left socialist thought, it actually affects their brain. I want to be clear here. TDS is not written up in psychiatry manuals, at least not yet. It's too new, for one thing. It takes time for that to happen, and it takes having people who suffer from it going to shrinks to be treated for it in order for that to happen. Now, at least one Arizona lawmaker and another in Ohio are calling for studies, literally from the National Institutes of Health. Some psychological therapists are saying, while the term is still a partisan pejorative, they have seen it as a malady in their practice. Now, here's when you know that a pattern of thought becomes an issue for yourself mentally. And let's think about this in a number of ways. A pattern of thought, if you look in the mirror and you see a fat person and you're not fat, that can lead to some serious problems. We call that anorexia. Everybody knows that's an actual mental illness. It's a problem that you need to attack mentally before you can even do anything with it in your body. So, do you feel an obsession over things Trump? Do you feel rage? Do you dread what comes next? Is anxiety part of your life because of persistent intrusion of thoughts about Trump. Are your emotions dysregulated, meaning it's very hard for you to get them under control when it comes to him? And do you feel at all impaired by all of those things? If the answer is yes, then yes, TDS is a real thing because it's not simply a matter of his ideology being different from yours. That anybody can deal with. It's a matter of your symptoms. Now, it would be easy for me to say, get over it, get over yourself and move on. It's a new year. You don't need to be carrying that baggage with you everywhere you go. But that's not entirely fair. We all know people who feel the weight of that symptomatic phenomena. They carry it around, and some are not at all troubled by it. They're really kind of happy, to be upset and angry with Trump all the time. Getting over TDS, though, has to be good for you. And it starts with one of the simplest steps. Say out loud to yourself, both political sides are valid. Is that uncomfortable? Those who disagree with me have every right to their opinion, and knowing that is a reality, not just words to speak. Someone is not actually stupid who thinks socialism is the way to go. Neither is someone who believes the opposite. The key is to be able to tell the difference in real time, right, between legitimate policy differences and an unreasoning psychic pathology on the other. Just start there, because it is true. It's part of being free to feel it, free to express it on both sides. We are not free, not really, to label others who think differently from us with angry names, much less to call them names in public, in either direction. We must be free to have lively discussions about political thought and direction for the nation without getting nuts about it. Okay, all that's just food for thought on this last day of 25. It might make sense to go down a list of Trump accomplishments in the first year of the second term. It's also fair to note that some of the things the White House calls accomplishments, the far left will call failures or wrong moves. But here's the list. Trump resumed construction of the border wall. He added more Border Patrol and National Guard troops to the border and gave them different instructions, which essentially closed the door. It has essentially stopped almost completely the flow of illegals into the U.S. President Biden had set policy that aimed to eliminate gas-powered vehicles, eventually to force Americans to buy electric cars and trucks. Trump reversed that entirely. Tariffs were aimed at other countries to at least equal the tariffs they had on American imports to their countries. In most cases, it has resulted in private sector investments in this country worth hundreds of billions, if not trillions, long term, in order for them and their countries to see those tariffs relaxed. In most cases, tariffs have been a negotiating tool, which is why prices have generally not gone sky high because of tariffs. Manufacturing in this country is up and rapidly expanding now. Lots of red tape had slowed things down. That's been cut. Artificial intelligence and data centers are exploding in number and size. It's easier to start a new business because so much of the federal red tape has been reduced. Some states have followed suit. Those states are enjoying strong economies while even cutting their own taxes. Policies have been strengthened to fight fentanyl. America was losing about 80,000 people per year under Obama, Trump in term one, and Biden to fentanyl per year. That is an astonishing number. America lost 57,000 people across 10 years of the Vietnam conflict. They're way down now and moving in the right direction, but it and other deadly drugs that originate mostly in China are still a huge problem. Americans are no longer held hostage in other countries. Nearly all Americans held hostage have been released because of Trump's diplomatic efforts. Biden had instituted policies aimed at crushing the oil and coal industries. Trump reversed all of them. which has expanded American energy production already. And the curve is pointing upward for traditional energies. If you want to put solar panels on your house, you still can, of course. And it might even make sense. But for the most part, you're not being forced to help pay for huge solar farms that produce a fraction of what any coal, oil, gas, hydro, or nuclear plant would. American farmers and manufacturers are exempt from most of the tariffs that would have made their goods more expensive leaving the country. That's good for them, helps them sell. Trump established a strategic Bitcoin reserve. It's a move designed to give the U.S. government more influence in the digital assets world. Trump signed orders to end the surgical mutilation of children in pursuit of sex changes because they are children, too young to make that kind of life-altering decision. Trump also signed orders supporting Title IX, which was created to support women's sports. One order says it is wrong for a biological man to compete in women's sports. He can call himself a man if he wants, but his biology puts the lie to that and gives him a provably unfair advantage over women. Flies in the face of Title IX. So Trump said, no more. Trump created DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, that's aimed at finding waste and fraud in government spending. And there is so much of that, it makes your eyes water. The liberal kickback on that was enormous, but there have been some cuts in spending in this first year, but getting a budget passed that reflects any savings is proving to be enormously difficult. Members of the House and Senate also seem to have a psychological problem called the spending your money syndrome. They just cannot seem to let go of that habit. The death penalty was restored for capital federal crimes. States have their own variety of rules. His government has labeled the heavily armed international drug cartels terrorist organizations because they set out to do harm to Americans, knowing that many will die because of what they do. Trump has started a process of forcing education departments and the schools to more fully involve parents in the education of their kids and to be able to make decisions about direction and curriculum. He is trying to draw a line between liberal political thought taught as core curricula in universities and places of higher education versus traditional, historical, constitutional thought. The administration is saying teach both, but don't teach that socialist progressive thinking is right thinking. That's Orwellian. And Trump has handed out an eye-watering number of pardons and commutations, particularly for people who appear to be in jail for political reasons. Right or wrong? Agree with it or don't? He sent National Guard troops to Washington, D.C. to get a handle on street crime, and it worked. Now, he could do that in D.C. because it is not a state. It's a federal district, ultimately under the control of the federal government, meaning all of the people all at once, not an independent state. That's by design. The Supreme Court has told the president he can't send troops to Illinois, a state, unless they ask for the help. That's in the Constitution. His military strikes on Iran's nuclear weapons facilities either put them out of the nuclear bomb business or at least set it back for years. Now Iran is trying to rebuild and has declared war against the U.S., Israel, and the West. More strikes against Iran to stop its nuclear ambitions are almost guaranteed. Trump is pushing hard for peace in Gaza, for a two-state solution with Israel, and with plans to rebuild Gaza and provide a chance to cooperatively build a peace there based on safety and prosperity. First, though, Hamas must either disarm or be disarmed. And it appears that Trump's signature international achievement, the Abraham Accords, will be expanding, with Saudi Arabia, Syria, maybe some other nations, signing on in the next year or so. That can only be outstandingly good for peace in the world. So, that's a list of things done in the first year of Trump's second administration. You have to decide if what they all are accomplishments or something less. 2026 should not expect to see any less action from the Trump administration. He is the Energizer Bunny. Rarely have we seen fraud, the likes of which is being uncovered in Minnesota. Billions essentially stolen for child care and other efforts, mostly by criminal actors from Somalia. Here's the way some of them worked. Parents were part of it too. The federal and state grant money would flow. Child education centers were set up. Parents would walk their children into the front door of the center, be handed some money, then they'd go right back out the door with their child or children and go back home or whatever. The center could keep the bulk of the money and not have to do much, if any, actual work. That's just one of the scams. There are indications the complicity in this went all the way to the top in Minnesota to the governor's office. That's why, though Governor Tim Walz is all of a sudden ordering that investigations be started, there are growing calls for him to resign. Any past investigations that he may or may not have started went nowhere. Impeachment could happen. His political career is in the toilet, and his own scandal is the hand on the flusher. In Latin America, a variety of national elections, candidates to the right of center were the winners. The reason? People are sick and tired of being victims of crime. There are 39 organized crime groups operating across Latin America, and they're more interconnected, sophisticated, and spanning borders and continents than ever before. Extortion, smuggling, arms trafficking, contract killings, the slave trade, and human smuggling, in addition to all the drugs. Add to that the collapse of prison systems under past liberal governments there, and it's easy to see why voters have ushered in new governments that promise to get after the problem and to improve the economic situation. Progressive wokeism is on the run in more and more countries. Did you know we are looking for lost cities? Everyone would like to see Atlantis found, ancient city, civilization that soared and it believed sank into the sea. There are other cities that we know about, written about, but can't find them. I never heard of most of these. One is in Iraq, they think, or more than one, flourished about 4,000 years ago. Iris Agrig, they know because cuneiform tablets that talk about it have been found. Itjawi is another lost city. An Egyptian pharaoh, Amenemhat, that's right, I said it right, how about that? Amenemhat ordered a new capital city built in his own honor. That was a couple thousand years before Christ. They think it's under the sands of central Egypt. Akkad was the capital of the Akkadian Empire. It was a big deal, also known as Agade. The empire stretched from Anatolia to the Persian Gulf, the peak of which was about 2300 BC. The city of Akkad has not yet been found. A whole city. Al-Yahuda is missing. It means city of Judah, a place in the Babylonian Empire where Jews lived. The kingdom of Judah, which Nebuchadnezzar II conquered in 587 BC. He exiled the population and destroyed the city, the bits of which are believed buried under Iraqi sand. Wasukani was the capital of the Mitanni Empire in northeastern Syria, northern Iraq, and southern Anatolia. Their big enemy and competitor was the Hittite Empire, famous. Cleaned them out in about 1300 BC. The people of Wasukani were known as Hurrians, and they even had their own language. We know because we have ancient texts, but the city has never been found. Then there's Thinis, also known as Genu, lost somewhere in southern Egypt. It was once a place where the early kings of Egypt ruled, but it's gone now, replaced by Memphis under unification, probably near Abydos. Still digging. I don't know about you, but when I spend much time thinking about cities, even whole civilizations being covered up and hidden by the inexorable sands of time, I realize that this too shall pass. Nothing lasts forever. But for the time being, it is enough to realize that we live in a golden time. We have more of everything in this country than most people in the world's past never dreamed of, and that most people in the world today don't dream of actually having. We have to take care of our little blue ball, and we have to take care of our freedoms, our personal freedoms, as we live on it. Earth is not designed to be populated by people who are prisoners of political control. We must live with liberty, meaning the actual right and power to decide for ourselves how we will live our own lives and how to live peacefully together. We need to be able to agree on those concepts all over again and put those on the sidelines who would tie you up or put you in a box that they want to control. You know what I mean? 2026 will be here in a matter of hours. It has the prospect of being great. May it be all of that and more for you. Thanks for joining in today for this podcast. We're on several platforms, and the podcast is growing. I appreciate the help. Can't do it without you. So please like, follow, subscribe, share the link with people who follow you. That'll help. I am Harley Carnes. Let's do this again next year. All right?